So, welcome everyone. My name is Arkadiusz Siechowicz. I'm a managing partner at Westhill Consulting. And for the last 12 years, me and my partners and colleagues have been always constantly on the lookout for the most efficient ways to transfer knowledge, skills onto managers and sales representatives. These are the two groups of people that we try to teach and improve by our humble services. And ever since the gamification appeared on the landscape of learning tools, we've jumped right on it, we've started experimenting with it, and over those last 3 years have managed to add gaming elements and to gamify quite a few of our learning development programs. And we also recently teamed up with a wonderful, great company that's a leading software house in terms of gamification platforms named Gamify, and we are just about to gamify pretty much everything in the learning area, including huge leadership management academies in Poland. Okay, and today I'd like to ask you a few questions and hopefully make you think. I'm sorry to do it just after lunch, but it wasn't that heavy. So I really like to inspire you rather than present too many solutions. Because I think we've had quite a chunk of solutions here today. So let's just take a step back and think what gamification is. And before we do that, I have two questions for you. How many of you is interested and is thinking of introducing gamification, gaming elements into your workplace? How many of you think that would be nice to have some game elements in our work? Okay, that's quite a lot. And the second question, how many of you have serious doubts, serious reservations that it will not happen next year? So the rest is convinced that next year you will be gamifying something at your workplace? That is excellent, that's excellent. So we have the avant-garde here. It's probably not the case around the general market. We are the leaders. That's great, that's great. The question I've posed for myself and the realization over those many projects we've delivered, one of them is this. Is gamification a noun or a verb? Because I've noticed that, especially in Polish, we tend to say, let's introduce a gamification. Let's buy a gamification. Can you sell us a gamification? As if it was a thing. Maybe a platform. That's what we think when we say gamification. And to me, and I believe to some of you as well, more importantly, gamification is the verb. Is the process of applying game elements to things and activities in the real world that are somehow boring, dull, important. We want to do them, but somehow we don't have the willpower to do them, and somehow we just don't. So we use those gaming elements to gamify something that is in reality, but it's not interesting enough. And the question is work in need of gamification? Do we need to gamify work? Let's see how the typical day at work looks like. We have a live feed from our offices, so it should be quite interesting. Let's see if it works. Oops. Okay. Okay, we see some of my colleagues. That's Mark. Work can be stressful. working as usual. Okay, yeah, so I think we can agree that the work needs a little bit of gamification. But somehow there is a big rift between what work is and what we think of as gamified work. Okay? Because, I mean, not many people are ready to introduce those Spider-Mans and chasing dragons into the workplace. At least not many CEOs and executives yet, just yet. Maybe we are ready for this, yeah, here, but not many of our colleagues. And also, the reason for that is that we really sometimes think of gamification as this huge platform that we have to pay gazillion of dollars and what, 6 months, a year, maybe longer to implement, and at huge risk. Because, I mean, in this room we can admit, we are still experimenting, aren't we? Honestly. We are not 100% sure when we are convincing our executives at our company that this huge platform will work. And actually I even see some of the early adopters here, and I know that there are some difficulties while introducing. So, yeah, so that's the big problem. And my goal today is to help you build a business case for jumping over this rift, for introducing gaming elements, but perhaps not necessarily this way, okay? Maybe we should learn from some other industries. For example, programming developers. What they do, let's say you want to change the way you move, okay? They don't ask you to give them gazillion of dollars and wait 4 years and then they will give you a beautiful car, okay? They work very differently. They work agile. On every stage, in quarter 1, 2, 3, they'll give you a scooter, and then they'll give you a bike, and then they'll give you a motorcycle, and finally, slightly later, you'll get your fancy car. But the difference is, the big difference is, that on each of those stages you are happy. On each of those stages you already changed the way you move. Yeah? And the risk is minimized greatly. Okay? Because you see if it works for you. If you are ready for more. So that's one of my main ideas today. Let's do that rather than that. Okay? So, what do you see here? Do you see a game here? Anyone has young children? Anyone walked to school 5 or 7 years old recently? Do you see a game here? Yes. What's the game? What are the rules?
You cannot cross the line.
Yes! Of course, the rules are simple and obvious and very important. The cracks between the tiles are the lava. You cannot step on them because you'll die. You have to jump, right? Okay, so that's how kids work. There is a story, there is a whole narrative in such a boring place. So it's possible to have a game in a boring place. But we are not kids. Maybe you've been collecting those stamps to get your free coffee or salad at Starbucks. Have you? Or maybe you've been collecting people on Facebook. I must admit, I play this game on LinkedIn. I'm way over 600 and I still play. I mean, I love having more contacts. And I only play it fair. I only add people that I know. But I know you. So, waiting for your invitations and I'll reach, another milestone. And even the courthouses. What can be more boring than a queue at the courthouse? Okay? What's this? So you are about to queue to be in a line for some procedure in the courthouse. You get this ticket and it tells you, what does it tell you? It gives you a progress status. It's actually a bad example because it actually says that there is almost 300 people in front of you. So that's slightly, not perfect. But in my Urząd Skarbowy, in my IRS, I get this and also I get a text message. If I am third in line, so I can come back from my lunch break and come back to the queue and be served right away. And that's a great progress status. Okay? Last but not least, that's a gamification as well. What's that? It's an advent calendar, isn't it? And we'll be putting them up on our walls soon, some of us at least. And that's another example, because, I mean, honestly, especially this October, November, December, we tend to be quite lost in time. I mean, is it summer over yet? Or is it already winter? Where are the Christmas? And this thing helps greatly. I mean, to me, it helps a lot, because I don't know, oh, is it 15 days to Christmas? Is it 5 days to Christmas? Is it 3 days already? Oh, I better start, looking for those presents. Well, that's what we do, don't we? Because we are lost. But the kids, they are not lost. They have clear progress. They know where they are when they are waiting for Christmas. My daughter has been asking about Christmas since July, but we don't have such a big calendar. So the main message is here that gamification, that those game elements aren't from video games only, and that they don't satisfy gamers' needs. They're not great because they satisfy some gamers' needs, and therefore our coworker aren't gamers, so maybe it's not for us. They satisfy some very basic people needs, okay? Not gamers' needs. I think at this stage you can agree. Let's see one more example. No, it doesn't want to be shown. It's shy. Okay, we won't be seeing those examples. But that's a teaser actually, because I will send all of those videos to you after the conference. And if you stick around, there's a longer break after my speech so we can watch them together. But what I wanted to say is show you that the gamification is all around us. And that's the last example that I realized recently. Do you run? And I don't mean chasing the bus in the morning. Do you like run in a tracksuit and proper shoes? Yeah, there are runners among us. I'm not a runner. I don't think of myself as a runner. But I got hooked up. Because running is gamified like hell. And, yeah, I see some nodding heads here. And I don't think actually about those fancy applications like Endomodo or Zombies Run that Chris was telling you about. They are great. But even without that, there is plenty of good old school gamification happening that we don't realize. Because how is the good game designed? It has levels, right? So, is Marathon a good game? Well, it is and it isn't. Because running 42 kilometers isn't a great first level, okay? It's a too big challenge. And a good game has levels like this. So you have this time you play the game and the difficulty. Yeah, isn't it like this? Remember Angry Birds or any game you've played recently? Your first level is just, very easy task. Then it gets more and more difficult. That's how running works. You get your 5 kilometers run. So I would never think of myself as someone who runs marathons. But 5K, if Daniel said, hey, let's run 5K with PZU marathon, okay, I can do that. I can run 5K. And after that, I thought I'm done, but, well, there is a 10K run, okay? And then there is this half marathon, isn't it? So, after you run 5K, you start thinking of yourself, maybe, well, what the heck, maybe I actually can run half marathon. Never a marathon, yeah? Never. That's not for me. But half marathon, maybe I'll do that. And most probably, I'm afraid that in a year, when we meet again, I'll say, well, I'm just preparing for my marathon, because that's how the game works. because there is even more and more elements, game elements. There is community. Soon after you start running, you go to fora, but choose to buy, that's most important. And you'll find that there's plenty of people running, as well as you. You meet people running in your neighborhood. And then, there is a challenge. Let's beat our own record, okay? The last year we've been the 500 to 600 places on the leaderboard. Let's jump into the 300s, yeah? That's our personal goal. That's the challenge. Can you do that? And then you have progress bar. You have clear... I hated it when I was running for 5K and we didn't have those. I didn't take my smartwatch because I haven't bought one yet. And I was lost. Is it the end yet? Are we over the half? And in the marathon, you have a very clear sign, the progress status. And you have your achievement, and you have your reward. And I have mine here. Yay! And I was so proud. Yeah, I walked whole Warsaw. Yeah, I walked whole Warsaw with this on my chest. So proud. I mean, Chris is laughing because that's 5K, what's that? To me, that was huge. Next year I will be laughing as well because I'll be farther in the game. So, again, these are basic people needs, and that's why they are present all around us. So, why not here? Why not here? Again, I know you are convinced, but we are building a case for your colleagues, for the other executives that you'll be asking budget for, gamifying something. So maybe we have those gaming elements at work. Do we? So, do we get feedback like we do get feedback in games? Do you get quick, swift feedback after each task that you've completed? That's a dream. If you are lucky, there is a yearly review. Yeah? In January, if you are lucky, your manager will sit down with you for an hour and discuss and give you feedback. If you're unlucky, he'll tell you to fill in the report yourself and submit it to HR. Well, probably in your organizations already it's slightly better, isn't it? Yeah, you get some feedback. But why this slide? Because so many cases, it's like playing bowling. Imagine this. You're playing bowling, but the game is slightly different. You roll the ball, and it goes beyond the drapes, and everything there beyond the drapes is made of carpet. So you can't hear a sound. Nothing. Yeah? So it's a great game, isn't it? You just take the ball, whoa! And probably something happened. There is no leader scoreboard. And another ball, yeah! Almost everyone does that. We've added a little bit something to it. It's a progress bar. You see what you've achieved, you see your next step, and you can actually see if we went live. We can do that when you talk to me during the break. We can show you what happens when you go over those places. It shows you the further steps. And that's not much. Is it impressive? I like it. It's ours. But that's something. That's a lot. Remember the research by Harvard Review? That's a lot. That you are progressing. You're telling people that they achieved something already. Okay, so the learning then might be boring. Again, it's not boring for us. We are the learners. We love learning. For many people, believe me, and you probably know that, it could be boring. So, I mean, show them videos. Make them animations, like you've seen during the break, and again, we can show you more. We love the animations, and for some companies, that's what's the tipping point. That's, for some people, what makes learning to turn from boring to fun. Okay? another important thing about work is you meet them, you provide the learning content where they are. And today, something quite amazing happened that proves this point. I was a bit late to the conference, and I was watching a video live stream of this conference on the Warsaw Underground. I was on the metro, on the freaking metro underground, and I was watching live stream video. So that's how you get people's attention, because there was nothing else to do. Yeah? Well, I could do people watching, that's a whole game. But I wanted to, develop and stay in touch, and that's where you get them hooked into the game, and then they will come to the training, just as I've done today. Well, I was scheduled to, but it's another story. So when you meet them with your learning content along the way, across the different channels, you get them hooked up in a training, and you have chance to create habits. Because that's what we are in. We are in a business of creating new habits. We are not in a teaching business. Because we don't want to teach people just for the sake of it. We want them to behave differently and form new habits. Okay, so yes, we do mobile applications with our friends. We meet them when they are. We do, let's see if this works. Hopefully this will work. It's an interactive ebook, and that's quite fun to use. That's quite fun. It's quite new, but it's very easy to make. And how it works. So the material isn't huge paper book. It's just 15 pages, and there are pictures, and then there are movies. And they work. So they work in this interactive flip stack, and I can promise you that they will work on your mobile phone. I'm bored. The attention span, 10 seconds. So that's how it works. What else we do? We can go old school. Whatever to do to make learning not boring. Okay? You can go old school. How many of you have been collecting stamps when you've been young and traveling in the mountains, and there was this legitymacja biblioteka, or whatever it is, yeah? Just collect stamps, bam. But we not only give you a stamp for being on the training and practicing on the training, we give you a second stamp if you have applied this knowledge in your workplace. So you have to come back to the training place and say, okay, I've done that. You've taught me some interesting model, and I've applied that, and it worked. And remember those guys and the idea of achieving something, a good day of work. You can do that as well. We have this implemented in our company. It's the concept from lean management methodology. You have Kanban. The idea that you do one thing at a time, focus on it, and once it's done, you put it in this stack of things you've done today. And that's simple. That's it. There's no more. And this simple tool is so powerful when you can actually look at what you've done today and what you've done this week. And recently, when I've met with my coworker that I was to sort of review her 3 months worth of work, and I was saying, well, you haven't that much, have you? You haven't been that busy. Yeah. Then she showed me that. Okay? And she was proud of that. I was proud of that, because you could have seen tangible. It's almost like tangible. I actually encourage you that you can do it online. We do it online in Google Docs, but you can do it by post-it notes or something even more tangible that gives you the sense that you've achieved something that day. in Westhill, we do onboarding process optimization. So when new people come to the company, there is a good process in place. You can gamify that as well. Very simply. So, okay, there is a long list of things that the manager needs to do with the new employee. That's boring. That's boring. That's something that you have to do, but you tend to be too busy to do it. But if you give them a checklist that they can actually check, and then the progress bar will change, and for this every stage, and then the next stage, let's give them something. At least, you know, also when they look at this and they see that the time frame, this progress bar is based on calendar. It's day 1 to 6 months. It just moves independent of whether you're doing something or not. And if this top progress bar is 70% and they are only at 30%, they sort of encourage them to complete and catch up with the top progress bar. Again, it's simplistic, it's not much. Is it a game? Maybe not. Is it gamified? I say yes. We also have, like, as I said, proper big platforms that can gamify a whole chunk of learning. And you can really have challenges and missions and all of those elements like interactive ebooks, audiobooks, video, tutorials, all that stuff on one game place, on a one online platform, and have your points scored and your leaderboards and your community and really work with coworkers. And that's great, and strongly encouraged to meet me, and we can talk about it later, how it works, how we develop it, and how long it takes. So you can have that if you and your executives are ready. If they are not ready, start from something small. So, question to you. What will you gamify next year? We have those leaflets around. If you could just look at the back where there is space to fill and write down what will you gamify next year. It can be a small thing. Now you know. It doesn't have to be the whole work gamified. What is it? It's old school, it's offline. You can finish it anywhere, on any medium, on the bus way home, or on a train, or on a plane. But you can also, you know, talk to us and we'll help you along the way. But that's something that starts the thinking how to gamify something. It doesn't have to be big, it can be small. So thank you very much, and I promise you that you'll have the opportunity to see the movies. Sorry about that, they haven't started. They worked perfectly 20 minutes ago, and that's every speaker's excuse, so there is no excuse for that. If you want to see the presentation and the video of the presentation to show someone at your company, leave us your business card. If you are happy to talk to me or one of my colleagues, that's Krzysztof, my partner, that's Daniel, my colleague, that's great. If you are shy, just leave it with Chris on the plate, and we'll just send you the materials, or we can meet up. And from those business cards, we'll choose 2 awards, because there must be a contest, there must be awards. I don't really believe in them, but let's see how it works. Maybe it works. So the 2 awards will be one, a consulting session, a 2-hour consulting sessions on something you've written down on your paper and that you are about to gamify. We can do that. We can do it at your office. We can do it online, of course, if you live in South America. And the second prize will be a video. Whatever you want to communicate to your people in your company, be it about gamification, be it about something else, that sort of animation that you've seen when you came into the room, we'll give one of you for free. We'll just prepare it for you. So thank you very much. Have a good life and a good gaming, a lot of fun at your workplace. Thank you.